Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Reformed Dissenters, the show where Reformed Christians, that'd be myself and my fellow cohort members, dissent against popular ideas of culture by asserting a biblical worldview. My name is Bruce Johnson. I'm joined here in the wonderful state of South Dakota with my good friend Joseph Lassiter.
Hello.
And we're also joined by my brother Jacob Johnson. Back
Hello.
in Pennsylvania. Thanks so much, Jake and Joe, for joining us today. I'm very excited. The whole gang is back together. We are a team once more. Very exciting. So, don't forget, you can share this show with people, and, the people are the ones that listen to the show, so we need you to share the show with people so that they can listen to the show. You can do that and help us grow by going to trdshow.net, grabbing that link, and sharing it with as many people as you possibly can. We've got links to all of the awesome platforms that we're on. Some awesome and some not so awesome. Looking at you, YouTube. But you can find us on platforms that don't censor us by going to Rumble, going to Gab TV. We have all sorts of non-censoring pro-First Amendment platforms out there. Don't just follow us on the ones that hate free speech. Go to the ones that also, support a basic human right, such as free speech. Also, email the show at trdshow@protonmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And, by the way, we need topics from you still. We're still waiting on more topics. We've gotten a few. Thanks for that, but we need more. So send us some more topic ideas. Anything that you have questions about, you want us to discuss, you think would be interesting for our team to break down and study, send us an email, trdshow@protonmail.com. We are looking forward to hearing from you. All right, so this is our Monday episode. We're talking about the current events of the week. A lot of crazy stuff. This was probably one of the craziest weeks we've had in a long time since COVID stand started. So we've got some crazy stuff to break down, so we're going to be doing that. But, before we get into that, we have to talk about the verse of the week. And our verse this week is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1. And it says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight." Again, Proverbs 11, verse 1. So we're talking about a false balance, an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight. So comparing and contrasting a false balance and a just weight. But what do those things mean, right? It's a little confusing. It's like, well, what is Proverb? What's being talked about here in Proverbs, right? Well, this week on Wednesday, we're going to be discussing Gary DeMar's seventh chapter in his book, God and Government, Volume 2. And he's talking about Christian economics, a biblical view of economics. So this verse ties in really well to that topic, but also just generally what we're talking about here, a false balance versus a just weight. And a lot of times we take this and actually apply it to economics because we're talking about currencies. So we're talking about things that at one time weighed this much, but now they weigh this much. Things that have changed, things that are fluctuating. Because what you're doing is when you have a just investment, a just weight, and then at some point now, or you have a collection of things, and at one point it weighs this much. It means this much. This is the value. And then later at a later time, the value is decreased. That is fluctuation. And what you get is essentially, from a biblical perspective, that's theft. When currency means something one day and then doesn't mean that same thing the next day, it's lowered in value, which our American currency is greatly decreasing and diminishing in value. That is theft. That is not a just weight. That is the civil government stealing from the people. So, and we're going to be getting into a lot more of that on our Wednesday episode where we're talking about biblical economics, but I thought it was really good to start this discussion now. So, all right. So like I said earlier, this is our current events episode. So I'm going to pass it on over to Jake and have Jake kick things off today. Go for it.
Alrighty. So, this is a week of good news, but of course, as always, I'm going to bring a little bit of discouragement to it.
Oh, no.
But just a tad. It's talking about the Supreme Court case of Mississippi v. Dodd.
Ooh.
Do you believe that's the name?
Dobbs.
Do correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm quite sure that's the name, though. But this case was done last week, and it was leaked last week, Monday, right? This same day, Monday. And which this is a Supreme Court decision that went 5-4. on the side of abolishing Roe v. Wade. This is going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Well, it might.
Theoretically.
Might.
We hope.
So, a reason for, again, this leak, and this is a little bit of the discouraging part, is that they want, and this is, people assume that this is, we don't exactly know where this leak is coming from.
Yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity here on both sides. Yep.
But people assume that this is coming from
Sotomayor. Yeah.
Yeah, Sotomayor. One of the people under Sotomayor, right? One of them leaked it. Right. And a reason for that is to get people outraged about it.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, there are two reasons why that might be a bad thing. First of all, and the more obvious reason, is in order to push a less strong judge on this side to changing their vote to the other side. It could also be because of how Justice Roberts responded to the election fraud thing, where he said that if the Supreme Court decides on the election fraud, that people would be outraged, so therefore they wouldn't decide on it.
Wow. Yeah.
So this could...
Mob rule is what we've resorted
exactly.
to.
So though that's a little bit of the discouraging facts to it, but something really, really nice is, first of all, the way it was put. So Alito is the one providing the majority opinion, and surprisingly, Alito is not the best, but he is decent, but nothing we really expected from him would be this good. And the majority opinion, what he wrote, was really, really good.
Wow.
And what came to mind when I was hearing that was the verse that talks about that God will use the rocks. And that's kind of what we found in Trump as well.
Yeah.
But like, we're finding more and more that God is using the people that you would least expect to do something good. So I thought that was a really interesting thing to find. And I really think that this is a good, strong case. And also it's another signification of the gates of hell will not prevail, right? We're a long time the End Abortion Now people have been pushing and pushing and pushing for this, and now it's finally come out, right?
Yep.
And so again, this is an example of the gates of hell will not prevail as long as we're pushing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's been is it 40 years? 40 years ago? I mean, not obviously not to the dot on the dot, but I think approximately 40 years or so since Roe v. Wade was that opinion was stated, because that's all it is an opinion, because the courts shouldn't have this power in the first place, but we can go all the way back to Marbury versus Madison and discuss whether that turned out correctly or not when the courts were given this insane power in the first place that I don't think the founders ever intended for them to have. But regardless of that, yeah, it's been 40 plus years since Roe v. Wade has essentially ended in the slaughter of millions of lives. And to see this potentially being overturned now, and stated as strongly as it is, you're totally right. It is encouraging. Well, let's just hope and pray that it actually goes through.
And even this, going even to what was stated, as you were saying, what was stated was really amazing. And I wanted to bring up 2 points that, in the way of the wording, it brings up 2 things, right? And one of the things even goes further than just a small little point, but first of all, this case, right, in the way it was stated and everything stated inside of it and the way it's coming out, right, it does get rid of Roe v. Wade. It overturns Roe v. Wade, which that in and of itself hurts what is called, again, this is a judicial term, but it's called stare decisis,
Hmm.
right? And I've talked about stare
Dude,
decisis
every week you
before.
come to us with brand new terms. Like, I feel like I learn new things live here on the show about judiciary matters every week. This is awesome. Go
Well,
ahead.
that's good. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, thanks.
But stare decisis, and we know what stare decisis is as long as I explain it. But stare decisis is Latin for let the decision stand,
Hmm.
right? And from that, even we can glean what this means as well. But overall, what it is basically precedent, right? It hurts the courts using precedent because now we're going back to Roe v. Wade, a court case which had happened before, right? So now the courts are saying, oh, wait, that was wrong. We
Hmm.
decided wrongly on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Answer
We,
me
we
this. Do you know off the top of your head how often does that actually occur? Does that happen very often?
precedent being used? Or
Being
what do you mean?
changed, like the way that you're saying, where it's changed like this, where they
Um,
actually admit, oh, we were wrong.
so that has happened before, and that has happened in cases of slavery before.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I think now even more it hurts precedent or stare decisis because, um, we're using it so much more now. Now, I don't know
Oh,
exactly how it was during the cases of slavery, but in this case, we're using precedent like in every single court case, right? We're
yeah.
the last judge to talk about going back to the Constitution was Scalia,
Oh, wow.
right? But Thomas also does, right?
Yeah. Original intent and all of
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Mhm. But the only those two, and Scalia is no longer a part of the justice. He's no longer, he retired. No, he died, didn't he? I think he died.
Hmm.
But he's no longer, no matter what happened, he's no longer a part of the judiciary or the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But and both of them, both Thomas and Scalia, were the only two actually going back to the Constitution for every case.
Hmm.
But they're all the court system now is using precedent, right? They're always going back to past cases to see, okay, how did we decide on this?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
therefore that's how we decide on it now.
It was
And
fascinating to me when I first learned that that's actually a thing that they do. Like, I mean, when we are trying to make a decision on something, like a worldview issue or what have you, we go right to the source. Well, what's our ultimate source
Mhm.
of truth? Oh, it's the Bible. That's right. So we go there for every decision we make. We don't go and like, well, how did I decide on this a couple of years ago? You know what? I think actually a couple of years ago I made this decision. Like, so it was mind blowing to me that this was something that they've been doing for so long that instead
Mhm.
of going back to our nation's founding documents or the Word of God, they go back to their own previous statements or their predecessors' statements as if that was gospel truth. Or,
Right.
they're assuming that, oh, well, they must have done a ton of research at the time, so let's just piggyback off of that and make another decision based on that. It's like,
Mhm.
do you
Mhm.
agree? And I'm asking you, Jake, do you agree with the way that they do that or not? Do you think there's upsides or downsides to that?
I think I could definitely see how it could be argued is that, well, as long as we're going back to the cases that we decided from the Constitution, right, that those then will be correct. So then we can use that going
As
forward.
a foundation
Because,
and build on it.
right, right. I disagree with that because each case has its own facts,
Nuances, yeah.
which are involved in the deciding of that case.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think we always need to be going back
Yeah.
to the
I
source,
mean,
just like.
that's why we have courts because
Mhm.
each case is so individual and unique.
Right,
That's why we don't just have robots doing it, and
right.
just a flat straight across the board. You do this, you're going to jail without any due
Right.
process, without any courts, without any determining factors or anything like that. Well, every case is very unique because, like you just
Mhm.
stated, the facts are different for every case.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that I'm glad you actually brought up due process because that brought up another thing I was thinking about.
you got about 2 minutes
Um
left or less.
oh, Oh, okay. Never mind.
Sorry.
Then I will move on to my final point.
All right.
But my final
Sorry.
point is, no, that's fine. That's fine. I could go on all day about this kind of stuff. But this case has a ripple effect, right? This doesn't only affect abortion, right? This will go into affecting LGBTQ rights, affecting medical decisions,
Yeah.
like with the jab. And so this will affect a lot of cases going forward.
Yep.
And even talking about stare decisis, that is a big thing, right? So we want, if this comes out and this actually is how it's going to be decided, that nothing changes last minute, this will be a monumental case, which will change the history of how we decide court cases going further, and changing laws and rights and other stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and it's very exciting to see where that goes, and hopefully it actually does, but also knowing that we need to be prepared that probably it's going to result in planned riots. Like you were mentioning earlier, they probably leaked this document on purpose so that there would be riots to try and find, who's the weakest link, who's going to be swayed because people are rioting, and I'm glad you brought up the election thing too, because they did the same thing. They have a history of being spineless. Yep.
Well, it wasn't exactly the leaks that caused that. It was more of but we see that again, that precedent is already set.
Yep.
And so therefore that's how they could use this.
Yep, for sure.
But I just wanted go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I just wanted to let everyone in our audience know that there are links in the description of direct articles that have helped in my research of this topic, but there are multiple other articles as well if you want to do your own research. This piece of news is really big, and there are no shortages of information you can find.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, given how important this topic was and how much needed to be said about it in context, I'm actually going to cede the remainder of my time to Joe. I will just not have an article this week, which is fine. I might do it in a deep dive, or it's fine too. So, Joe, take it away.
I have. It's mainly a short, a little more information on what's been going on with this leak. So, my news headline is pro-choice abortion activists call for Mother's Day protests at church. Now, think about that for just a second.
Yeah.
Mother's Day protests for
baby murder.
For baby murder on Mother's Day.
Well, what is it, Joe? Totally random question. Doesn't relate at all.
Okay.
What is it that makes a mother a mother?
The capability
Isn't
of
it
having
a baby,
children?
right? Having a baby makes a mother. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. That thought just, I don't know. It's totally random.
But the thing is if I'm not mistaken, Jake or Bruce might actually know a little more history behind Mother's Day. But isn't Mother's Day a government holiday for mothers?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the history
I could be completely wrong. And if I am, that means you will send me an email.
Yeah, send your emails to trdshow@protonmail.com.
Otherwise, I'm going to just go with it and say it was a government-designated holiday. I don't remember the entire history on that. So anyway, please tell me if I'm wrong. I really want to hear from you. But anyway, so it was ever since the leak on Monday of last week, there's the pro-choice abortion activists have been trying to group up together, go and riot and protest at Catholic churches, because the Catholic Church is I think it was one of the main churches that started the pro-life movement. Again, I could be wrong. I can't remember. But the Catholic churches are the main target at this moment in time. I'm sure a lot of other churches are as well. But today there's been a lot of protests at churches and stuff. And I only have Facebook, so I've only seen a certain amount of protests, but It's all over TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter.
Wow.
With people using the hashtag War on Women or hashtag Mother's Day Strike, or what was the other one? Hashtag Week of Resistance.
So they don't care about Mother's Day, right? They don't care about keeping Mother's Day. They actually think Mother's Day is wrong.
Yes.
And by the way, Mother's Day is a government sanctioned holiday. In 1914, it was
Wow.
officially created as the U.S. holiday.
Cool.
And
Well, okay then.
yeah.
Not the civil government's job, but okay.
Right.
I like having 3 people on the show because I can talk about one point and then someone will look it up for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Oh, you were the researcher a couple shows ago, so there you go.
you know-
Jake just got you back for that. He owed you. We
Yep.
owed you one. So
Yep.
thanks,
So
Jake.
that's great. Again, other social media taglines are hashtag Mother's Day or hashtag Rise Up for Abortion Rights. And a lot of people are going around churches and obviously holding signs, a typical protest, but chanting motherhood should be a choice, not
Wow.
forced by the church or the state.
Wow.
The group also claims forced motherhood is female enslavement. So, yeah, there's...
Motherhood
Wow.
is not being forced.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You either don't have premarital sex or you do.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You have a choice.
Right.
Now,
It's
then
whether
they're going to
you
go
wanna disobey
into
God or not.
right, and then they're going to go into the whole, well, what about cases of rape and what about? But the cases of rape, which I happen to know that Joe's about to talk about this, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
kind of trying to segue into what he's about to talk about, which I'm really excited to hear him say this next bit. But cases of rape and incest and all of that is actually extraordinarily low.
Want to hear those numbers?
Go ahead, Joe. I want to hear the numbers.
So I found somebody who posted on Facebook, and they gave, I think it's an article. I took a screenshot, so I didn't really capture a website. But 0.001% of people why they choose abortion is because the pregnancy resulted from an
Incest or rape, right?
No, incestuous relationship, I
Okay.
think is how you pronounce that word. I'm not going to try anymore to butcher that word out. 0.065%. Again, this isn't even 1%. This isn't even 100%. 0.065% is the woman's life was endangered by a pregnancy. 0.085%, the woman was raped. 0.288%, the woman's physical health was threatened by the pregnancy. 0.294% was the woman's psychological health was threatened by the pregnancy. 0.666, hint, never mind. There was a...
Joe told me he was going to make a Baptist joke there. So
Yeah, I made it earlier off the show.
it's a 0.666% chance of.
Yeah, the devil's work is here. Anyway, there's a 0.666% of
I mean,
women.
that's at this point, it's not a 0.666%.
That's true.
It's 100%. This is the devil's work.
That's true. But 0.666% of women choose an abortion because there was a serious fetal abnormality. And then now we're actually into...
So now we're above zero.
Now we're above zero. A 6.268, the women aborted for social or economic reasons.
Wow.
And this is
Can I just interpose here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which should have been handled by the church. Like, if you have to murder your baby because you can't provide for your baby, and you fear that economically, socially, it's impossible. It's an impossible situation, and that's your only reason.
You really
right?
should be going to the church
Go
and asking
to the
help.
church. And we need churches today to offer that support.
Mm-hmm.
We need churches to be able to step up to the plate and say, yep, this is what the tithe is for. We're going to help you provide for your family.
Yes.
So you don't have to murder your baby.
So, I mean, the argument overall is never murder your baby.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
never.
Okay. Now,
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
Go ahead.
you might really want to hold on to your socks for this one.
No.
92.33% of women for getting abortion there's no reason at all.
Wow.
No reason.
No stated reason.
They just want to have because
Mm.
they committed a sin and they don't want to go through with the
Deal with
consequences.
the repercussions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Take the
You said it in a
responsibility.
different way.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
it's crazy, and along with what Jake and Bruce were saying, my theory is this was a planned leak
Intentional
because currently the Democrats really don't have a platform to stand on. They're seeing that the LGBTQ platform is crumbling. They're asking men to sell some organs so that they can reproduce. So that platform has gone out of the way. And
Which doesn't make much sense because they have the younger generation. They're teaching the younger generation all about LGBTQ and they're affecting them. So I don't necessarily believe that the LGBTQ movement is failing for them. I just think they're trying to attack from all sides. I think they're trying to add so many different facets to every single argument that we feel like we're being pressured from every single angle that we can't attack them effectively.
I know that the common Republican talking point right now is with the Florida bill, right? The anti-groomer bill. What is being said is that was a massive blow to the LGBTQ stuff for them because now we can label them as a groomer or whatever. I disagree that it's as massive of a blow as people are saying that it is. I tend to agree with you more, Jake. But yes, I think from a perceptive level, from a perception, like just people perceiving what's happening and not actually understanding it fully, it is possible that it could look like they don't have a leg to stand on and the elections are coming up and they need something right now. And so the baby murder thing is a great thing because then they can say, oh, you're not allowing us to murder our babies. How dare you? We wanted to sacrifice our babies to the god of Moloch. Please let us do that. So
Yeah.
I can see from that level, but it's not on a deeper cultural, like, what's the spiritual battle on that level, battling on the principalities and powers level. Yeah, we're not doing so well.
But
Right.
the LGBTQ community is realizing that they can't reproduce kids. So that's why I made mention of
Yeah,
that.
that's really, and thanks for bringing that up because
yeah.
it's totally true
That's
because people are saying that in the Republican circles. We just tend to dissent against even the Republican circles. So,
and to that Florida bill, right? I do believe a little bit of that Florida bill is not that it necessarily hurts them, but that they're trying to act like it is and trying to go so overboard with it
Yep.
that people start, oh no, this is a problem, almost like what they're doing with the abortion thing. They're saying, oh, you're taking away women's rights. Instead of calling it like it is, instead of saying, oh, you're getting rid of our right to kill children,
yeah, yep.
they're saying you're getting rid of women's rights.
Except for the ones that happen to be in the womb, they don't.
Right.
They don't matter.
Right.
They have no rights.
Because they're trying to appeal to the dumber culture in our... Well, they're trying to appeal to the dumber people in our culture.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the same with this LGBTQ bill that in Florida. That they want to call it... They're not going to call it what it is. They're not going to call it trying to protect children against groomers.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, if the government schools weren't there, we wouldn't...
Ooh, you went there. You went there. I love it. Yep.
But I digress. But
wrapping final statements from both of you.
Wait.
Continue that thought, and then I'll pass it over to Joe real quick. If you can sum it up in like 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, well, I mean, summing the entire argument up is basically this is a good thing. I think that right now this is a very good decision. I just hope it isn't overtaken by the leak so that people become outraged and it's gotten rid of.
Yep, for sure.
I
Nope.
also want to make mention of, so I personally think that this is a leak, a purposeful leak, but what else are they trying to cover up in the media? Because now they've blown this up. What are they hiding
Good thought.
behind everything? And let's talk about the food shortage. All right, that's
thought.
the end.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. Thank you both for that really good discussion. A lot of really good points were brought up. A lot of things to think about. Send us some emails with your thoughts at trdshow@protonmail.com. We'd really like to hear from you. Also, trdshow.net is our website. Scroll to the bottom of the homepage. We've got a nice little contact form for you there. So, if you don't like sending emails, do it through there. Follow us on our pro First Amendment platforms, including Rumble and Gab. Follow us on our Gab page. Watch out for some announcements next week. I'm going to be out of town a little bit for a couple days, so we might change things up show structure-wise next week. So follow us on our Gab page if you don't want to be confused. Definitely follow us there. Again, that's gab.com/TRD show. And until then, we will see you in the next episode.
And remember, everyone, in all that you do, do as unto the Lord.